Keith here with another short video tutorial on past. In this one I want to illustrate how you can use the gridding option on the geometry menu to draw a map of a particular variable. Now this works better with more points or more samples. So I've generated a file here that has samples taken at 10 unit intervals across the entire map. In other words, I've done a grid sampling scheme at 10 units across the entire map to generate what is actually a fairly large sample. This is not something you would be able to do within the constraints of the budget. Now, to start with, I'll look at depth, and what I need to do is first of all just select the values I want to use as usual, geometry, gridding, and then you'll see here there are 4 different options. If you use the bottom one here, you've got to run the semi-variogram option and click optimize all. You probably don't need to fiddle with the neighborhood, but columns and rows you can change, but as it happens 100 and 100 are good values for this particular map, and I'll just use the default option. Now here's the resulting map we get. Oops, there we are. The points here are where I've got samples, so you can see I've got them evenly spaced over the region. And let's switch to a color map, turn on the contours, and you may want to do this option here. It's not going to make a great deal of difference in this particular case because I've got samples evenly spaced over the entire map, but if you don't have that situation, cropping to the samples you have will prevent the program from generating too much data outside areas where you've got samples. Now what I've plotted this time was just depth, and the first thing you need to realize is that it goes from east to west just fine, but it's in reverse order here. So my map goes from 0 down to 100, this one goes up. So you've got to mentally flip this around. And it's showing a fairly even depth profile from shallow waters in the north to the deeper waters in the south, with some little up and down unevenness due to the random nature of the simulation. But otherwise that looks pretty good. Let's now try something else, such as hydrocarbons. And what you've got to do is move the column into place. So once again you have X, Y, and in the third column whatever it is you want to plot. So now I've selected all, geometry, gridding, and I'm going to hit go. Now remember, this is one particular, you can turn contours on or off. This is one particular set of data here, so the distribution of pollution you see here may well be quite different from the patterns you have in your own set of data, or the patterns that are in the simulation that I use for your data. And in fact I can guarantee they are, because I make them all a bit different. So again, east to west is right, but it's flipped over in terms of north to south, and if we mentally flip it, we've got pollution here, not too much here, but rather a lot coming out of this particular platform here. So you can try this option to do a map. How well it works will depend to some extent on the number of samples you've got and the spacing and the way in which they're arranged. It will work considerably better once you've got all your final data in, because you'll have then 2 or 3 times as much data as you have from the pilot. Hope that's useful.